So yeah, Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition obviously is a very scaled back version of Guilty Gear X in some ways, but is oddly authentic in others. We still have all the 4 buttons we need to actually make this work. Again, we obviously don't have like hotkeys for, or like macros as they're called for Roman Cancel or Dust, but we still have Punch, which is on L by default. We have Kick, which is on B, Slash, which is R, and Heavy Slash, which is A. This game is 1 year older than you. That is... I'm trying to process how I feel about that. So, how I want to do this... I think I'll put Kick on A, Heavy Slash on B, and we'll put Punch on L and Slash on R, I guess. There's also a color edit option. That's not in the console version. Though again, I guess it would also be easier to set up just because... Oh, we might have a problem actually. We might have a problem. I need to check something really quickly. Yeah, we have a problem. Luckily, there's a code option. I basically didn't prepare for this at all, but luckily there is a password to unlock characters all at once, or at least some of them. Also, I forgot to mention, with Guilty Gear X Plus, they actually add the ability to unlock Cliff Anderson and Justice as well in X Plus by doing challenges. So that's another cool detail of that version. And press start, press down, right, up. Down, right, up. That is for Guilty Gear X. What is the code for Advance? All extra mode characters unlock Dizzy. Down, R, L, R. There we go. And Testament is up, down, right, left, A. Okay. Got that in just in time. Hope that worked. Oh, this is crunchy. Yeah, that is very crunchy. So let's see if the codes worked, first of all. So we will go into the color edit again, just to see if they're there. That is an interesting color palette for Dizzy. Actually, I think that is one of her defaults, actually. Yeah, you can actually do basic color editing. Again, I kind of wish they'd do this in more games, to be honest. Also, how the heck do I leave this menu? I feel like I'm stuck here. Hello? There we go. Oh, that was B. There we go. We're finally free of that menu. B. We'll save since we used the code. I'm pretty sure for Guilty Gear X on like console, it doesn't actually save the code. You actually do have to unlock them. So that is one thing the GBA version has over the other. There's also a 3v3 mode. I don't know what this is like, but maybe we'll dabble in that a bit. So just for lulz, how about we do an arcade run of Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition? By the way, this game doesn't have categories for all the different versions, so there's a reason I haven't updated the title at all, because it's the same on everything. There's just Guilty Gear X, which makes some sense, but it is kind of odd that other games do have more like nuanced categories than this. Alright. This is a really weird port because on one hand, I think it plays poorly, but on another hand, it's almost impressive how like the fundamentals are still basically there, but just really rough around the edges. Like all the inputs still work. Wait, what is Slash? That's Slash. There we go. Yeah, that's Potemkin in this. There we go. Now, the original design... I keep pressing triangle because of instinct, but triangle doesn't work. I should have actually just put L and R on square and triangle. That would have made my life so much easier, actually. Like, this music sure is something. Yeah, I definitely should have selected that a little bit differently. For some reason, I'm having an easier time inputting forward circle motions on this version than others. It's really weird. I'm genuinely confused by that. So yeah, that's slash. Yeah, the fundamentals are all there, and like balancing seems okay. Yeah, I'm more used to like the X-Star and onwards designs for most characters, because again, I didn't actually play Accent Core that much. I just kind of dabbled in it a little bit as I was getting into fighting games. That's a whole story in itself, which I might as well talk about since we're going through all these games, or going through the arcade mode again. Essentially again, even though it's a different version. Basically, I got into Guilty Gear because I had friends who were super into fighting games, and I am really bad about, like, people-pleasing, to be really blunt, so I really wanted to fit in, so I tried to dabble in a bunch of fighting games. So that included mostly, like, BlazBlue, and a little bit of Guilty Gear, but, like, I didn't really get into it partly because my controller broke, basically. I was using a PS3 controller, and those are, in my opinion, very unreliable. I don't know how I feel about this song. It's like they tried. I have to give them that. They tried. I don't know if they did a good job, but I definitely think they... like, effort went into this version, and that I can respect it for. But, it is definitely not, like, you know, how I would want to play this game traditionally. Like, everything is recognizable. The backgrounds feel a little bit rough, I'd say. The character sprites look decent, I'd say, but the backgrounds look a little bit like, a little Game Boy Color-ish in terms of, like, lacking color palettes. Are her wings swapped? Are they? Like in the sprite or in the victory screen? Undyne should be on her right. Necro should be on her left, right? Or am I completely misremembering? I might be completely off base. It could be a palette limitation. Like, if we switch sides, instead of, like, having... Actually, I can't tell, really. I'm a little bit confused. It actually does look like it swaps when you change sides, which I guess makes sense, but... I like this song. This is not my favorite rendition of it, obviously. Shoot. This punch. That is not slash. We won. Cool. Yeah, I think our wings are right. Wait, on that one, that doesn't look right. I don't think. I am gonna try to win on the left side this time, and figure out if that's the issue. There was a move that made it look like her wings swapped sides. So yeah, I wonder if it's just like a weird limitation. Okay, yeah, I think it's a case of if you're on the right, for some reason it flips the sprite in such a way that makes the entire sprite mirror. So yeah, and that victory screen. And also here, it's like, should that be right? Sorry, I'm like losing, I feel like I'm losing it right now, because I'm trying to process everything happening. Like... trying to remember, like, it's like a Mandela effect, basically. What direction are her wings in? Anyway, we're moving on to Zato. Again, in the rest of, like, X2 and Accent Core, he's actually referred to as Eddie, because Eddie takes over. Again, not really sure how they bring him back, to be honest. Never really delved into that part of the lore. Even got a stun. But yeah, Actually, I want to see what a dust looks like, which would be what? Circle, or B in this case, and... It's like almost playing a Street Fighter with like 6 buttons, where like a bunch of stuff is on the triggers. That actually looked better than I thought it would, to be honest. Again, the sounds are like, they're trying. Again, I do feel like the character sprites were the priority, and thus the backgrounds look a little rough. Like, the backgrounds do look like the previous gen of like Game Boy Color, I'd say, if I had any like critique about this version. GG Dizzy. Because now I feel like I need to look up how this works. Yeah, Necro is supposed to be on the left, Undyne on the right. So the victory screen has her wings correct. Okay, so it's in the fight screen where her wings are actually backwards, I think. Wow, I feel like a fake fan now after getting that messed up. Yeah, here it's actually wrong. I think it's just a color thing. And now I'm like having to second guess myself. Was it like that for the other game too? Like, was that the case for X? And like, because I think in gameplay her wings are traditionally like this, aren't they? Because I could have sworn, maybe not, I don't know. I'm second guessing everything now. But I would imagine, at least for this version, it's about readability. Because there's a problem of like, if she had a dark colored wing at the foreground, she might be harder to spot in the environment. Oh, this is a song. This is a song. Yeah, her sprite usually does show Undyne on her right, like in normal gameplay. So again, I guess in gameplay it's usually mirrored, and again, I chalk that up to visibility, where it's like, oh, you want the brighter colored wing against the foreground just so it contrasts the background more, or something like that. British penis music, basically. I felt like my mind has been blown that I never realized that before, but yeah, looking through screenshots of like AC plus R, her wings are actually backwards in gameplay versus in artwork. Yeah, Undyne is usually on her left, so yeah, that makes sense. Also, Venom is getting added soon, like winter, I think. Or I think early 25 is what they said, so there's gonna be a bit of a gap, unfortunately. Venom is also a really fascinating character. My understanding of Venom's lore is he basically is working with the same Assassin's Guild as Zato 1 and Milia. Basically has a one-sided crush on Zato, who is very much more interested in Milia. So yeah, a lot of their endings have like a lot of Venom's endings have a sort of tragic component to them, which I find really fascinating. I wouldn't listen to them by themselves, but I'm fine with it. Ow. This is not going well, which is actually par for the course. Venom, I'm not really good at fighting zoners, so yeah, I'm not surprised that Venom is kind of playing up a fight like this. I'm processing this song right now. I really don't know how to feel about this one. This just feels like noise at a point. It's trying, but like... I don't know how successfully it's trying. That's not the input I wanted. There we... Nope, still not. What's with the demon back there? I actually don't know. I mean, it's in the console version too. Or like just, I think it's also an X too, because they reuse a lot of backgrounds and just update them. So yeah, it's like, it's just part of the normal stage. Again, they did an admirable job of trying to port all of this. By the way, these games were actually published by Sammy, which is now known as merging with Sega to become Sega Sammy. And that caused all sorts of problems, so that's why like Dizzy isn't in certain games, because they have to write her out for legal reasons actually. Like an overture like they were having issues getting the rights to characters. Ooh, that's a background. Yeah, that's very like red compared to what it's supposed to look like, where it's more like sunset, but like, yeah, it almost was Game Boy Color because of the lack of contrast and backgrounds. I'm just kind of spamming at this point. Again, it's like oddly competent. Like it's one of those things of if you kind of know what you're doing, it's an actually decent version of the game. It's just, would I recommend this? Probably not. Would I like fight them on it if they put this on NSO? Absolutely not. I think this would be a great NSO game. Just like, because it'd be wild for like NSO to have the only officially released version of Guilty Gear X on a console. So again, I don't know if they do that. Though then again, ArcSys did work on another code earlier this year, so who knows? But again, also with like Sega Sammy and everything, I don't know what the hell the licensing on this game is at this point. Also, I'm pretty sure they actually added in an expanded ending for all the characters in the GBA version because it did come out a little bit later. So like, I think they do incorporate like something from Plus and at the very end. But I actually don't remember because I'm bad at like remembering things. Turns out my memory is very bad. Truth be told, I just kind of feel like oh. What am I even thinking of? Like, what is this reminding me of is what I'm wondering. It's reminding me of something. Like, it's missing like so many audio channels, basically. But again, points for trying. My biggest issue with this version is just it sounds bad. Like, it almost feels okay to play. Again, if you could like move L and R to like Y and X, this version wouldn't be too bad. But the biggest issue is just it sounds rough. Is there a sound test in this version? I need to look after this fight, or after the arcade run, if there's actually... Oh, that's Slash. There we go. How did I get this in this version, but not the console version? Because I was trying in the console version and botched the input every time, so I'm actually kind of upset that I got it in this one of all places. Yeah, Imperial Gamma Ray, I think is the name of the move. That's her, like, most powerful super in most games, so I wonder if it'll be in Strive, given, like, the change in direction, where it feels like she's more in control of her powers than she used to be, like, if she'll have the recoil that she normally does. But once again, we're fighting, Testament, and again, we do have Testament and Dizzy as our final bosses, as usual. Testament's also the final, like, penultimate character in Guilty Gear 1, too, because they're protecting, Justice. So yeah, second time in a row, and they kind of stopped that in the next one. I actually don't think there's a penultimate fixed fight in... Ow. I don't think there's actually a penultimate, like, fixed fight in X2, because I almost feel like, you know, Eno in the story is mostly tied to that man who isn't actually playable for a bit. And yes, the character is actually referred to as that man at this point in the series, so that is the canonical designation. I am not forgetting the character's name and saying that man, because I don't remember. That's just how Guilty Gear tends to be sometimes. Natmund. Asuka's a fascinating character, and I still don't quite know how to feel about fighting him, because it's like, oh, that's a lot of stuff on screen all at once, and I have no clue how to process anything that's happening. Whenever I look up like high-level Asuka play, I'm like, what am I looking at? It just looks like a bunch of stuff flying around constantly. Yeah, parts of this game seem like they have decent production value, but others kind of feel not great. It's a very mixed bag, but again, it is a perfectly playable version of Guilty Gear X, weirdly enough. Shadow Wizard Money Gang, basically. Yeah, looking at like Evo and stuff, it's like, yeah, I don't blame anyone for not knowing how to fight that. Especially if you're like ABBA, like how do you make up the speed differential? Or Potemkin for that matter. Okay, now I'm curious about something. Do they have an alternate, like, mirror match theme in this version? Or is it actually just playing RFC? I think it's just playing RFC, which is like, I'm sad that this is the first time we've heard it in game tonight, and it sounds like this. Because again, if you ask me what my favorite, like, Guilty Gear song was, like, if you go classic, it would be this. Usually. Modern, I'm turned toward... Well, actually, I have one from each era, weirdly enough. My favorite from Xrd is Marionette, which means we're actually 2 for 2 for Alpha having my favorite theme in Guilty Gear, which is weird, because I actually don't play Alpha in Xrd because she is very complicated. But yeah, I love her theme in Xrd, and Strive too, so yeah, 2 for 2 for having, in my opinion, one of the better character themes. Yeah, I almost didn't recognize it. Yeah, I had some think. Dizzy finally found the happiness she's dreamed of. Everything she has hoped for is finally in her grasp. This time it's not a fantasy. So yeah, this version adds a little bit of text at the end. Basically, this version's also weird because it has a long intro. Like, it has a really long intro compared to in X2, where they shorten it to just the, like, drop of the song, is where the song just starts. So that's another thing about it, is you barely hear it, because the match is over so fast, it barely even gets to the drop in time. But yeah, we don't get, like, a special ending image or anything, we just get the little text description, and it's also very vague, like, how does she get her happiness? It totally doesn't even mention the jellyfish pirates or anything like that. So, in general, this is really not a good version in some ways, but an impressive version in other ways. It's one of those games where I'm happy and impressed that this exists, but hoo boy, would I probably recommend trying the console version. By the way, the PS2 or Guilty Gear X started on Dreamcast, which again is why I mentioned, Naomi. Basically, Naomi was like an arcade board system, to my understanding, and a lot of games of that era ran on Naomi. X2, Good Manners and Customs, Writhe in Pain, Xrd, Ride the Fire, Strive, Symphony. Symphony is really good too. I like Good Manners and Customs. I'm actually trying to remember which one that would be. I mean, I can look. I have a playlist set up. That's Zappa's theme. Huh, Zappa would be someone I'd want to see come back at some point. They did a poll, like a survey the other day. Unsurprisingly, Jam and Robokai were like the top 2 results almost unanimously. I was weird. I voted for like Valentine from Overture and Fanny from Petite, just because I felt like being contrary, since I knew Robokai and Jam would definitely get the top slots. So I'm like, I'm just gonna vote for characters who probably won't get any votes, because I want to be different and increase their chances. I've had Ghost Girls on the brain recently. I'm like, I thought that was all the time. What the heck is Tag Match? Now I'm curious what the heck any of this stuff is. Alright. Alright, guess we'll go Jam. I don't even know what this mode is. Like, do we tag out actively? I've never played this before, so this will be fun. I don't even know what button combination tags. Big Blast, Sonic, Storyteller, Spell the Game. Those are the only names I know. That's fair. It's set. That's always reassuring. So yeah, how do we tag? Like, I genuinely don't know how that works. In terms of, like, how you tag out to the other character. Or if you can manually tag, I assume you can. Somehow. It's like all the buttons together. Nope. Maybe I'm just pressing every button combination to see if one will eventually work. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about faultless defense. I didn't need it at all. We might next time if we play X2, because that game is a lot ruder than X. Is this just a standard arcade run or something? Like, how does this work? Do we go back to the title screen? But like, imagine if this did end up on like NSO or something. People could run like tournaments of like Guilty Gear X Advance, and it'd be really fascinating. Like, I don't know how long this mode goes on, so we'll probably just end here. Yeah, this little intro bit they cut out in X2, and I think the song is better for it. I think it just kind of takes up time, so you never hear the, like, the good part of the song in the actual stage. At least that's how I feel. Then there's also 3v3, which means I have to think of a third character I actually know how to play in this game. Guess it's Kai. Yeah, I guess it would be. I'm like, who else do I know in this game? So yeah, these are modes only in GBA, so yeah, imagine if, like, they tried to do a tournament on this game. If this was on NSO, like, it'd be the wildest thing. I actually don't know if this has multiplayer. Guilty Gear gets a tournament in the venue bathroom a la Melty Blood. I don't think I've heard that story about Melty Blood, but I completely believe that would have happened. Melty Blood's really fun, actually. Not that I've put much time into it. I've only played a little bit of, Actress Again, Another Code, I think is the name of it. Or something. Current Code. Another Code is something different. But I actually do kind of like it. I would like to try Type Lumina at some point. So Tag feels more like... Oh, you're playing by, like, tag fighter rules of being able to tag out, but I don't know the button for it. But then conversely, 3v3 is just kind of like you go in order. And then in the new game, there's a 3v3 mode, which is almost more like an assist fighter, where the other players can like do assist moves. That hasn't been added officially, but they did a beta that I completely neglected to download because I don't want to burn data on downloading Guilty Gear Strive a second time. Oh, that's bad, that's drag and install. And it's also really hurting my eyes. Do not like that. I also did that input completely by accident. I did not mean to actually super there, but it worked. Wild game, in other words. This is a weird-ass version of Guilty Gear X, but again, I'm happy it exists.